Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is, wherever you may be, and whenever you're watching this. Um, this is the first introductory video, or just an introduction to the course of this course that I have in the board behind me. Biology 121, that's A&P 1 at Grand Rapids Community College. The first course of two series course for anatomy and physiology, and this is the totally virtual, totally online section of section 7093. I am Mike Jones. I'm the instructor for this course this semester. This will be an interesting semester to do a completely virtual online course. I haven't done that. I've done mixed courses for this same topic and other topics. But video technology and audio and computer technology and all the available options have been, for me, an interesting journey. I'm not at all a technophobe. I do like technology. I enjoy learning new things, but it has changed how I approach the topic, and I hope it enhances the topic, and I hope it helps you to understand this topic. I love science. I enjoy learning new things about anything really, but in particular about science, scientific topics. I have been a physical therapist for 25 years. If you read my bio, you know that. Before that, I worked in research laboratories for more than 10 years. I really enjoyed that very much too. This whole coronavirus thing, as much as a pain in the butt as it's been for everybody, biologically, physiologically, and on a molecular level, it's been an absolutely fascinating ride for me and people like me who love that stuff. I don't love what it's doing to us and humanity and how we're having to change our lifestyles and adapt. However, it's a clever little virus with some interesting physiologic tricks up its sleeve. And I enjoy learning about that sort of thing. So you will notice immediately that I have a classic old-fashioned whiteboard behind me. This thing right here. Yep, I will sometimes use that. I'll sometimes draw on it. I won't make a ton of use of it, but I will use it to draw things as I would in the classroom, as I would in front of you at the chalkboard. Or at a chalkboard. Listen to me. Yeah, the gray hair is giving it away. You can tell my age and how long I've been at educational institutions and learning, and since the old chalkboard days. So yes, to reiterate, my name is Mike Jones. I will often sign emails and messages Mike Jones PT. That's just to keep things formal. An interesting thing about people without doctoral degrees, and I am one of those people. I have a master's degree. Actually, I have two master's degrees, but I have one master's degree in physical therapy and another master's degree in molecular physiology, and then, of course, the bachelor's degree. People like me don't get to be called doctors, generally speaking. It's not an accurate way to address people like me. So, what do you call me? Well, if you were to see me personally, you could call me Professor Jones. Professors are college teachers, right? So, anybody who teaches in college, no matter their background, is professor. So, Professor Jones. Some people call me Professor Mike. Some people just call me Mike. Some people call me Dr. Jones. I've had a lot of patients call me Dr. Jones, but that is an inaccurate title. I do try to correct people and keep them straight on that, but it happens, and that's fine. I'm not going to make too much of a fuss about that. So you will see that when I sign emails and announcements and whatnot, communications, generally speaking. I will, since this is virtual and since the communications will be online, I will be signing things. Eventually, I will be signing them MJ, because it's easier to type. It takes less time. and you know who I am, and you know who the communication is coming from. So, and because of the online thing, I get lots and lots and lots and lots of internet communications of one form or another. So the whiteboard, what I wanted to bring up, I wanted to go over the syllabus here. But before I get to the syllabus, I want to show you some resources that you can use for enhancing your understanding. Now, you don't have to use these resources. There's no absolute requirement here, but the kinds of resources that you have available to you these days is frankly unbelievable, and really it's unmanageable, unruly. So I will give you what I think are helpful resources. There are lots and lots of others. Talk to your classmates, talk to other professors. A lot of times people won't even know the resources that you do have available to you. So you can search it out, seek out your own kind of information, the way that helps you to learn things best. But there is a tremendous amount of information, a tremendous amount of specific facts and concepts that you need to understand in anatomy and physiology. And because we're combining the two, and that's a classic way to teach it, you will find that form, you're going to hear this phrase all the time, form follows function, or function follows form. It goes both ways. The structure, how something is put together, reflects what it does physiologically. But this is true of most things in life. If you look at your car, you look at the wheels in the car, and they're not made of, maybe they used to be made of stone, you know, way back when, in the Flintstone days, if you're familiar with Flintstone cartoons. Yes, they had rocks for tires back then. Well, we don't anymore. We have nice rubber tires. They grip the road, they handle the road, they give some degree of comfort. They're round, you know, they roll, so that gives you an idea of what they do. Same with physiology, same with anatomy. Looking at something and its structure can give you an idea of what it's supposed to do. And you're going to see that over and over and over again. It's sometimes not immediately obvious, though, that the form of something describes its function. However, once you understand the deeper anatomy, that leads you to the understanding of a deeper physiology. And that's the combination here. Anatomy and physiology. All right, this is your first foray into it. You need resources. Your immediate, I'm going to grab something down here. Your immediate and go-to resource for all things anatomy and physiology are me, this guy right here, me. Okay, that's number one. If you have a question, you don't understand something, ask me. You must ask me. You have to be your own best advocate. I cannot read minds. I certainly can't read electronic minds and virtual minds, whoever you are out there. I really would like to meet you in person. That's my preferred go-to, but this is the situation we have, and so this is a good option. So me, that's number one. Okay, number two, well, actually I should say that's number one because this is your first digit. You're going to find out in anatomy there are very specific ways of talking about structures of the body, and they are specific and universal. And so this is not your first digit. This is your first digit. What you call your thumb, that's digit number one. Okay, so that's me, number one. Number two is this thing right here, this giant, very, very thick, and we'll go through approximately half of this book. This is the other huge major resource, this book right here. Now, there are other textbooks, there are other resources, I'll tell you about some of those, to get the same information that you will see in that book. That is the text that we define for this course. However, the knowledge is universal. So when I talk about something, a concept, an idea, something in the textbook, I'm going to refer to the page numbers or the section of that book. Version number 3, or third edition, sorry. Third edition of that book. That's what I'm going to refer to. There's a first edition of that book that is very, very similar. There's a second edition of that book that is very, very similar. However, there are slight differences. I will be referring to the third edition of that book. If you have the second edition, you can keep that edition, and I'm almost certain, although I haven't compared it page to page, but I'm almost certain that the second edition would do just fine. However, I have to tell you, I will refer to the third edition. Other resources are these 3. These are my recommended go-tos. There are, as I say, tons of others. These are my recommended ones, right? Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a resource if you want to learn about anything. You want to learn about chemistry. You want to learn about geology. You want to learn about the Declaration of Independence. Why would I bring that up now? We're going to avoid that. This is science. Okay? But it is a good thing to learn about. Khan Academy's got it all. There's a topic and a subject for everything. What we're looking for here is anatomy and physiology. He has great videos. They're very simple. They're to the point. They get the point across in about 10 to 15 minutes of a video. I listen to them sometimes too myself to refresh or to get a different way, a different idea, a different way to discuss a similar topic that you'll hear me talk about. Okay? That's number 1. Clean and simple. Nothing fancy, no fancy graphics. He just gets into, or whoever the instructor is, Sal Khan does most of the videos. The guy is a wonderkind. He's unbelievably knowledgeable. But there are other instructors as well. Simple, clean interface. They get right to the point. They don't mess around. However, it's not very visual. It is visual, but it is not modern visual. Okay, number 2. This thing called the Amoeba Sisters. These are all on YouTube, by the way. You can search for these people on YouTube. So the Amoeba Sisters, I like their videos. They're also pretty simple, straightforward. They have a whole bunch of study guides and study forms. You do have to register. I don't think you have to pay anything. I don't know. I have never done that. But their videos are nice graphics, good, clean concepts. It's a little... it depends on how you look at it. You might consider it childish at some points. I would prefer that you think of it as more simple or a clean interface as opposed to, graphically simple. But I like it. Again, good short videos. They get to the point. You understand a concept pretty quickly, or reinforce a concept. Maybe that's even a better way to think of it. Third, Crash Course. Crash Course is headed up by a guy named Hank Green. His brother, can't remember his first name, but his brother wrote a very, very popular middle school, high school book called The Fault in Our Stars. That's his brother. The brother that I'm talking about heads up, well, and Hank has something to do with Crash Course too, or the brother's name, who I can't remember. Well, so anatomy and physiology is covered in there. Chemistry is covered in there. Again, more videos, clever concepts, clever visuals, clever graphics. I kind of like that. I have been told, and I have to agree with this, that Hank is a bit of an acquired taste. He's kind of goofy. He's sometimes silly. That works for me. Those kinds of people make an impact on me, and I tend to remember things longer that way. So there's the 3 that I recommend. There's lots of others. Khan Academy, Amoeba Sisters, Crash Course. Use them, don't use them. No skin off my back if you don't. One other resource for phones. This one, I think everybody should get this. This is a thing called OpenStax. Okay, so you can see, so I'll show you on my phone. I don't know if you can see it. I hope it's not. Oh, it's probably blaring. This thing down here Where's my finger? Right there. It's called OpenStax. OpenStax is spelled OpenStax. OpenStax provides free, I'm not kidding you, free online textbooks for math, for physics, for anatomy and physiology, for chemistry. It is provided out of Rice University in Texas. It's a terrific resource. Free. Did I mention it's free? Yeah, it's free. It's a pretty simple, clean, basic anatomy and physiology book. It's very much like your book, but the page numbering is different, and the figures are going to be different, and what I refer to in our text is going to be different than in that text. But that's a nice text to have too. The other thing, the thing I really wanted to bring up was the resource. This thing, the app on your phone. Let me open it up. Okay, and you go to, and there's a page, and I'm sorry, it's all blurry. There's a page full of all kinds of topics. Topics range from algebra, trigonometry, American government, business ethics, calculus, blah, blah, blah. You want to learn about anything, you want it free knowledge, right here, okay? But I'm going to go to anatomy and physiology. Click anatomy and physiology. Here it is. Everything that you need, anatomy and physiology. All the body systems, everything, how everything works on your phone. You got it with you. You don't have to carry the big doorstop textbook wherever you go. You carry this thing around, and here we are in Unit 1, Levels of Organization. That's where we are now. I click on that. What do I got? Overview of anatomy and physiology, structural organization, functions of life, homeostasis. Oh my God, you're going to hear that word homeostasis until you're blue in the face. Anatomical terminology, blah, blah, blah. Covers all the stuff. A really cool feature of this, a great feature, is the thing. You have key terms. So key terms just gives you a list of all the terms that you just studied out of that chapter. That's unbeatable. Next is chapter review. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Chapter review, okay? Chapter review is they give you an overview of what you just learned. You could read the whole chapter. Here is a quickie, basic, what did you learn in that section? What should you have gotten out of that section? The one thing that I will point out, and I've already pointed this out, and I will point this out over and over and over again. If you rely on reviews or chapter summaries or study guides or whatever you want to call them, if you rely on that to learn all this information, you will not do well. Science is specific and technical. And for me to tell you that anatomy and physiology works together and there's a structure-function relationship there, and if you think knowing that is enough to answer the questions that I could ask you, you're mistaken. I guess I do mean to be direct and to the point. Studying this review will not help you, will not get you the grade that you're looking for to advance to your next class and get into the program that you wish to get into. This alone, a review, will not do that. A summary will not do that. A study guide will not do that. But I will provide those things. But you can't possibly think that doing the summary or the study guide, studying from that alone, will not get you what you want. Specificity matters. And that has to do with detail. And that has to do with studying and studying and studying and then studying some more. All right, so there's the chapter review. Review questions. They give you, review questions that you could that you can review. I may derive some of my test questions from some of those, or based on some of those review questions. Anyway, you get the idea. OpenStax. OpenStax. Speaking of how to study, your textbook has a pretty good section on how to study this. you will need to study multiple times. You can't just read a chapter or a review or a guide or whatever and say, I learned it. You have to practice it. You have to study it again. If you like to study with other people, then by all means get together with other people online, wearing masks, outside. Well, it's a little cold right now. So that's fine, but I used to tell my students in the cadaver lab at Grand Valley State University used to sit at tables, or they would surround one cadaver. So 4 or 5 students would be around one cadaver. And between any of the 4 or 5 people, they knew every structure on that body. But I used to tell them, I said, if 4 people are here and you all know, collectively, you all know the structures, that means each one of you knows 25%. 25% is a failing grade. You, as an individual, you have to know the answers. You can't rely on your study partner when you're in the middle of a test. And so it's up to you. Studying in groups is fine. Studying in groups can be helpful as long as it doesn't get too much into a social session. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with social sessions, but if it's a study group, you need to study. But in the end, you will take the test, and you're the one who is going to earn the grade. So you need to know the material. So let me show you a couple of things I want to show you. First off, let me show you this. One of my favorite cartoons of all time. You will feel this way at some point. You may have already felt this way at certain classes that you've taken, but you will feel this way. You will want to raise your hand, in this case virtually raise your hand, and you want to say, Mr. Jones, may I be excused? My brain is full. Yep, your brain will get full. In a more serious vein, one of the things that I do recommend is you will have to be able to have an answer for yourself. The first day, the first week of class, you know why you're here, and you're all gung-ho. In a few weeks, you're going to be studying at 1:30 in the morning, and you have a test to take the next day, and you're going to be sweating bullets, or you're going to be upset, or you're going to feel like, I can't learn this stuff, or I don't understand this stuff, and you're going to be kicking yourself. You need to be able to answer that question at 1:30 a.m. Why am I doing this? You have to have an answer for yourself, because the answer will lead you to one of two things. You will either be able to say, you know what, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I need sleep. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to wake up with a fresh attitude, and I'm going to get back at it tomorrow. Or number 2, you're going to get up. I'm not necessarily recommending this, but you're going to get up and you're going to throw your book against the wall, which I did one time. I did this once in college. It was calculus. I threw the book against the wall. I stomped around my dorm room. I went out for a walk. I came back. I picked the book up that now had a broken binding, and I put it back down on my desk, and I kept studying. That's what you have to do. You have to be able to answer yourself. You have to be able to discipline yourself in those situations. By all means, stomp around. By all means, take a walk. By all means, go to bed. Do the thing you need to do, but then you have to get back at it again. That's what this requires. That's kind of how this cartoon strikes me. All right, let's go through the syllabus real quick. You've read the syllabus, or I hope you've read the syllabus. Here it is, contact information, the usual stuff. Here's my email. You should contact me by email. This is our Zoom meeting, and if you see this, I hope you see this before 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you don't, you should read the communications that I send to you. 9 a.m. on Thursday this week, I will have a Zoom session that I can invite anybody into that I want to, and we can talk individually or we can talk as a group about how the class is going to work. Course information, you got all that. Right, lectures, as I said, strictly online, so the lectures are pre-recorded and made available on my YouTube site. This is the YouTube site provided by Grand Rapids Community College. So I will put this video, as well as any other videos I make, I will put it on that site. I'm trying to figure out how to either put it on Blackboard or to link to Blackboard, so that's another thing I got to learn about the virtual world. But I will do that. One way or the other, you'll know when I put information up there. Alright, this is all the stuff you have to learn. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, 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 of course. And you will learn all those things. Here's the required materials. I already told you that. Right, here's the book, 3rd edition to the McKinley Anatomy and Physiology. Alright, I will give you some lecture outlines. I will give you these kinds of videos. Test questions, test topics will be taken from the videos, but I also, this won't just be factually based. There's going to be some, you've got to think about some of the questions that I'm going to ask you, and I'll give you examples of those so that you can see what you're up against. Here's some other material. There, I put the OpenStax app and website. It's amazing. Free. Grading. I've decided on 5 lecture exams, 10 quizzes, and 5 other assignments. These 5 assignments are undefined at the current time. They're going to be 5 points each, so they're not hugely point heavy. And I will let you know as I go along what those will entail. But the biggie, 5 lecture exams, 500 points there, 10 quizzes, 10 points each. That's another 100 points. That's the point heavy stuff. Quizzes are going to be more designed to give you insights into what the tests are going to be like. What kind of questions are you going to have to answer? What are you going to have to know about? So I know that every point is valuable. I won't dispute that. However, if you get 5 out of 10 on a quiz, that is not 50. That's not 50% translating to a grade. That's not a grade. Those are points. If you get 5 out of 10 and you're upset or you're disappointed, then you will know what you need to study harder, so that when you get to the exam that comes near that quiz, you'll be more prepared and you'll do better on the test than you would have otherwise, because you know what you need to study. That's my point. That's my idea behind the quizzes. Here's the grading scale. You already know about that. Oh, well, that went on to another page. Yeah, well, it's a shame. But remember, too, you're taking the lab. The lab counts as 25% of your grade. The lecture counts as 75% of your grade. So whatever points you get out of lecture, you multiply by 0.75. Whatever points you get out of lab, you multiply by 0.25. You add those two numbers up, you get a percentage. The percentage translates to a grade. That's how it works. If you're going to miss a quiz, if you're going to miss an exam, if you're going to miss a deadline for an assignment, let me know ahead of time, if at all possible. I know emergencies happen. I get it. I'm a human being. Things do happen. But if you know something's coming up and you're not going to be able to do one of these things that's important to class, I really would rather know about it ahead of time rather than the morning after something happened. Now, if something happened and you had no warning and you had no preparation time, okay, fine. Then move on. And tell me about it. The further ahead you can tell me, the better. That's just kind of the bottom line. I can help. We can help each other, I guess maybe is a better way to say it. We can help each other to meet your needs if you can tell me this ahead of time. It's like going to work. This is work. I'm your boss. If I know ahead of time that you need time off, we can make it work. if you call me up the day after and say, I'm going to take today off, I'm not going to be as happy about that. You understand. All right, college policies, yada, 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 blah, blah, on and on and on. You got to read through all this stuff. This is stuff we have to put into these. You need this information. If you need information about something that's happening around the college, it's in the syllabus. Here is something that I will point out, highlighted in yellow, you'll notice, cheating. I am a pretty easygoing person under most circumstances. Cheating is not one of them. So here's all of the things that you have to, that can constitute cheating. You will be taking exams on a thing called a Respondus browser. You will be doing that for your lab and for lecture. This is something I have to learn how to make work. I'm not familiar with the Respondus browser, but I will be very familiar with it, and we're going to make it work, and we're going to figure it out. That is necessary. So that is our way to keep you from cheating. If you're not cheating, if you're not doing any of these things, that we're not blaming you for cheating. If you're not going to do it, then don't do it. And imagine that the Respondus browser is me walking around the classroom watching you take the test. It's no different. It's the same thing, same concept. You did the work, you studied hard, you earned the grade. That's yours. And plagiarism. Changes to the syllabus. I reserve the right. This is kind of like an Apple, the thing you have to sign. Geez, I can't even remember what they're called now. The agreements for, software and whatever. You just click the X on the box, and in there somewhere it says, we reserve the right to change this contract. Well, that's what this is. If something changes, like a year ago, right? We're going through the semester, I'm meeting with my classes in person, and all of a sudden, hit the brick wall, stop. We went all virtual overnight. That was a change in the syllabus. So additional resources for you. Please, the Biology Tutoring Center, oh my God, what a resource. This is unbelievable. You have access to this. Again, free access to a tutor to help you to understand this stuff. I can't always be available. I will try to be as available as possible, but I can't always be available for every purpose all the time. The tutors are there. They're there all day. They're just waiting for you to ask questions to help you out. It's great stuff. Here's some other websites that you can use. Right, so here's the thing you really want. Look through this. This is the syllabus. This is what you're going to be doing this semester, what we're going to learn, when we're going to learn it, and then how you're going to be tested on it, when you're going to be tested on it. So there it is. You look through all that stuff, put it on your calendar, get used to it, get ready for it. All right. I wanted to keep this under 30 minutes. I'm a little over that now. Sorry about that. The beauty of YouTube is that you can speed me up, and I sound really fun and interesting at a faster speed. So go ahead and speed it up and get through what you need to get through, and you can laugh at my funny voice at a higher speed. For now, I'm going to click stop on this. I'm going to put it up on YouTube so you have it open to you, and then you can look at the introduction to the course. All right. It's been great meeting you virtually even. We will spend a semester together. We'll get to know each other. And welcome to class.